Your shampoo is illegal in Europe. The bottle slipped in the shower and cracked against tile. A sweet salon smell rushed out. My friend froze. That shampoo, she said, it'd be illegal in 27 European countries. She wasn't exaggerating. The label looked harmless, clean, dermatologist tested, but the fine print hid preservatives, Europe red flags, and a fragrance mix that never has to name itself here. Your bathroom isn't one bad bottle. It's a daily drip on kids, on eyelids, on air. Today, we're raiding the cabinet, exposing the loopholes that made this normal and showing swaps that don't wreck your routine. To see how the lie became standard, we start at the sink. The bathroom raid. The big 5 you use daily. We begin where the day does. Shampoo, body wash, lotion, sunscreen, makeup remover. 5 products, 1 pattern, ingredients Europe restricts or discloses, and an American label that keeps you guessing. First hit, formaldehyde-releasing preservatives. You won't see formaldehyde on a bottle. You'll see DMDM hydantoin, quaternium-15, imidazolidinolurea, diazolidinolurea, bronopol. They keep water-heavy formulas microbe-free by slowly generating formaldehyde inside the container. Steaks, thin skin, steam, daily repetition. Formaldehyde is a known skin sensitizer and a bigger deal for pros and people with frequent exposure. In the EU, products that can release formaldehyde past a tiny threshold must carry a contains formaldehyde warning, and several donors are tightly limited. In the US, if formaldehyde isn't intentionally added, there's no special flag on the front. That's how a gentle wash can become the reason a toddler scratches at the nape after bath time. Swap logic. Pick donor-free formulas preserved with systems like sodium benzoate potassium sorbate at low pH, dihydrocetic acid, gluconolactone plus sodium benzoate, or multifunctionals like caprylyl glycol, especially in pumps and airless bottles that let milder systems work. Second, MIMCI, methylisothiazolinon and methylchloroisothiazolinon. Dermatology clinics called it an allergy epidemic for a reason. Europe banned MIMCI in leave-ons and pressed levels down in rinse-offs after patch tests lit up across the continent. Here, you can still find MI in US wipes, lotions, hand soaps, and shampoos. Stakes are simple: contact time and frequency. Eyelids, lips, hands, diaper area, thin skin gets hit hardest. A sensitive baby wipe with MI turns into a midnight rash you swear must be the diaper. It is. The fix is boring and effective. Water-based, fragrance-free wipes without MIMCI, liquid soaps and shampoos that avoid them, ventilation and gloves for long wet work. Third, parabens, nuance matters. Europe draws lines between long-chain parabens like propyl and isobutyl and short-chain ones like methyl and ethyl. US labels often turn paraben-free into theater, replacing them with stronger sensitizers or formaldehyde donors. The stakes are about location and duration. A propyl paraben in a body lotion that sits under clothes for 12 hours isn't the same as a quick rinse-off cleanser. Practical rule: ditch long-chain parabens in leave-ons that cover lots of skin, body lotion, eye cream, diaper care, lip balm. If you tolerate short-chain parabens, they can be acceptable in certain contexts, especially when the alternatives burn. Packaging helps you win, pumps and airless over wide-mouth jars. Fourth, PFAS, the forever chemicals hiding where performance sells. Long wear foundation, waterproof mascara, featherweight primers, even dental floss. In Europe, regulators are pushing broad PFAS restrictions. In the US, change arrives state by state and retailer by retailer. What nobody tells you is how to spot them on a label: PTFE, perfluoro, polyfluoro, anything. Makeup artists found the workaround years ago: tubing mascaras that form polymer sleeves and slide off with warm water. Non-fluorinated film formers from acrylates, silicones, or starch blends. Blotting plus powder instead of a fluorinated shell on skin. For floss, silk, nylon, or UHMWPE tapes move without PTFE. Fifth, fragrance, the black box. One word can legally stand in for dozens of chemicals, including solvents, fixatives, and known fragrance allergens. In the EU, common allergens must be listed by name above tiny thresholds: limonene, linalool, citral, and new rules are expanding the list. In the US, you get fragrance or parfum and a guessing game. Stakes show up where fabric meets face. A laundry-scented pillowcase can puff eyelids even when your skincare is clean. Microcapsules in hair and body products rupture all day, turning fresh into a continuous air source. If your house smells like detergent in the hallway, you're breathing it. Fast wins. Make your core routine fragrance-free. Lotion, face cream, hand soap, body wash, and skip softeners and dryer sheets. If you want scent, pick one product you love. Confirm phthalate-free fragrance and allergen disclosure. Use it for a moment, then stop. Scent should be an event, not a room tone. 2 micro-stories landed. A college student cycles eye creams for months, chasing a mystery eyelid rash. The trigger isn't the cream. It's her shampoo, DMDM-hydantoin in the lather that runs over her eyes every morning. She switches to a donor-free base and keeps rinse behind the ears. The flare quiets. Across town, a new parent buys free and clear everything and still fights a diaper rash. The wipe hides MI at the tail end. A water-based, fragrance-free, MI-free wipe and a simple zinc paste end the problem in 48 hours. Meanwhile, packaging plays its part. Airless pumps let milder preservation work. Jars invite fingers, water, and stronger systems. Heat moves chemicals. A hot car turns a balm in soft plastic into a slow leach. Glass for oils, pumps over jars, no microwaving plastics, boring rules that cut exposure without changing brand. Here's the fast read you can do in a store aisle. Scan the last third of the list for DMDM-hydantoin, quaternium 15, imidazolidinyl/diazolidinyl urea, bronopol, and for methylisothiazolinon/methylchloroisothiazolinon. For makeup and floss, flag PTFE and perfluoro/polyfluoro. If it says fragrance, assume a mix. Unscented can still hide a masking fragrance. Fragrance-free is the safer bet. Stakes, action, impact. Stakes, thin skin, kids, daily contact, and indoor air. Action, 5 products, 5 quiet exposures. Impact, when you swap the core, the room gets quiet. Fewer rashes, fewer headaches, fewer mysteries you blame on the weather. And that's before we even open the legal playbook that let 2 versions of the same brand exist on opposite sides of an ocean. The regulatory gap. How safe until proven harmful? 1. To understand why your label reads like poetry instead of a map, we have to talk about the rule that quietly wrote your bathroom. In the United States, cosmetics move to shelves without pre-market approval. Companies are expected to ensure safety, but there's no routine government greenlight before you buy. Regulators step in after complaints, recalls, or clear violations. That posture, safe until proven harmful, wasn't a headline. It was a default that turned homes into test sites. Meanwhile, Europe built a different reflex. When credible risk signals appear, endocrine disruption, persistence in the environment, strong sensitization, EU regulators restrict or ban entire classes for consumer products while they gather more data. It's not fear, it's sequence. Reduce exposure first, then refine the rule. That's how allergens get listed by name, how certain preservatives get capped hard, and why a brand's European ingredient panel often tells you more. Here, S where it gets practical. Labels list intentional ingredients, not process contaminants. If a surfactant is made by ethoxylation, tiny amounts of 1,4-dioxane can ride along unless suppliers strip it out. You won't see it named because it wasn't added on purpose. Aerosol propellants can bring benzene when supply chains slip. Nitrosamines can form when the wrong amines meet trace impurities. Your label declares intent, not everything you'll meet in the bottle or the air. With that blind spot, retailers started acting like regulators. When a national chain forbids PFAS in house brand cosmetics, suppliers reformulate or lose the shelf. When a state caps 1,4-dioxane in shampoos and cleaners, manufacturers vacuum strip surfactants and publish new specs. The fix travels far beyond the state line because one cleaned-up base is cheaper than 2. Industry leans on use as directed as a shield. On paper, it's fair. In real life, exposure stacks. A rinse-off with MI isn't a crisis until it meets a sensitive hand soap preserved the same way, plus wipes at the changing table, plus a bucket cleaner in a steamy bathroom. You're not misusing products, you're living with them. The law slices by category. Your body experiences the sum. The gap becomes obvious when a brand sells 2 recipes under one logo. The EU version reformulates to comply with allergen disclosure, tighter preservative limits, and emerging PFAS policies. The US version keeps a legacy base if it's still legal. The bottle looks identical. The ingredient order doesn't. Trust erodes quietly when performance feels the same, but the trade-offs differ by border. Through 3 real-world moments, a state quietly passes a 1,4-dioxane limit for household products. Within months, a familiar dish soap adds purity refined to the label. That signal tells your process changed upstream, catalysts, temperatures, vacuum stripping. Same scent, lower ghost. Across the ocean, EU rules force disclosure of certain fragrance allergens on cosmetics. A lotion lists limonene and linalool online abroad. The US page keeps fragrance as a single line. The company can disclose when required. It doesn't hear unless you ask. In a newsroom makeup room, a station adopts a FAS-free spec for on-air kits after retailer policies shift. The resulting long-wear base uses non-fluorinated film formers and better powdering. Viewers can't tell. Removal gets easier. That's regulation by procurement, not by press release. Process contaminants versus intentional ingredients is a quiet fault line. Consumers can avoid DMDM-hydantoin because it's printed. They can't avoid 1,4-dioxane unless the brand or the law caps it. The EU leans on process control and group restrictions to shrink that unseen load. The US increasingly relies on state action, retailer standards, and after-the-fact enforcement when a recall reveals a spike. There's also the timing problem. Setup time shouldn't eat your routine, yet it does when safety pulls from disclaimers instead of design. Good packaging reduces how much preservation you need. Airless pumps let milder systems work. Jars demand stronger chemistry because fingers introduce water and microbes. Europe pushes these boring engineering choices through guidance and eco-labels. Here, they're marketing upgrades unless a buyer writes them into a spec. None of this turns companies into villains. It turns incentives into outcomes. If the rules allow an older fragrance base here and require an allergen-disclosed one there, finance will pick regional optimization until someone forces harmonization. When harmonization happens, because a state law sets a numeric ceiling or a big retailer demands parity, the global base shifts and you feel it as calmer skin and quieter air. So what does closing the gap look like at home? Ask brands how they control 1,4-dioxane in ethoxylated inputs. Ask whether they use intentionally added PFAS in long-wear lines. Ask for the preservative system by name. If they sell abroad, ask why EU allergen disclosure isn't mirrored on US pages. Then vote with receipts for companies that answer with methods and numbers, not adjective. That's how safe until proven harmful becomes built safe by design. Not because a slogan promised it, but because the process changed before your kids' eyelashes, your eyelids, and your air had to keep proving the point. 2 bottles, 1 brand. Split formula economics. While that was happening in Brussels, something else was happening on your shelf. 2 bottles, 1 brand, same color, same scent story, different guts. You don't see the split in the logo. You see it in the INCI line. A donor here, a different preservative there, a PFAS film former trimmed abroad but left in place at home if it's still legal. The economics aren't mysterious. They're spreadsheet simple. To understand why, we need to go back to the moment regulations diverge. The EU sets a bar, ban a class, cap an allergen, force disclosure, and manufacturers rebuild the base to pass. At that fork, finance faces 2 choices. Build one global clean base that satisfies the stricter region and ship it everywhere, or run parallel recipes, a compliant set for Europe and a legacy set where it's still allowed. On paper, regional optimization looks efficient. In practice, it erodes trust one quiet swap at a time. Consider Shampoo. A household name sells a US bottle preserved with a formaldehyde donor and MI in the hand soap next to it. The EU counterpart dropped donors to avoid contains formaldehyde labeling and reformulated rinse-offs to hit tightened MI thresholds. Same scent, same claims, gentle, smoothing, but different preservative systems under the hood. The consumer experience barely shifts, the exposure does. Mascara tells the same story at the lash line. A waterproof US tube lists PTFE or perfluoride terms midway down. The EU version leans on tubing technology with non-fluorinated polymers or acrylates set with powder. Removal is easier, red eyes calm down, and no one on camera notices. Cost-wise, keeping the fluorinated US formula looks cheaper until a retailer standard or state law forces a pivot anyway. Then the brand harmonizes. Because juggling inventories is expensive, lotions and lip products create a subtler split. In Europe, allergen disclosure means that a fragrance-heavy body cream lists limonene and linalool. Here, fragrance stays opaque and the same bottle carries a dermatologist-tested badge. If a customer emails the EU subsidiary, they get an allergen list. The US site links to a palette of possible components without confirming the exact blend. The company can disclose. They often choose not to until compelled. Why not just go global clean from the start? Because the first unit of reformulation is the most expensive. R&D hours, stability testing, microbial challenge tests, packaging tweaks, compatibility with pumps or tubes, and fresh safety substantiation under different climates. Multiply that by hundreds of SKUs across hair, face, and body, and finance says, let's phase it. So they do by geography. How the deeper math, line simplicity versus margin. Two parallel formulas add complexity. You need separate ingredient buys, separate quality specs, distinct labels, region-coded artwork, and parallel regulatory files. The savings come from deferring the expensive swap in markets without pressure. As soon as pressure arrives, state caps on 14-dioxane, retailer PFAS bans, or fragrance allergen rules, the calculus flips. One cleaned-up global base is cheaper than maintaining two. Visual identity makes this easy to hide. Bottles, fonts, colorways, and fragrance cues stay identical, while the ingredient deck diverges by 10 characters. Meetings can keep celebrating brand continuity while compliance flips ingredients behind the curtain. Consumers feel sameness. Their skin registers nuance. Here's how you can read a split in the wild. Check the US site and the EU site for the same product name. If the EU page lists allergens or uses different preservative language, you've found a divergence. Compare long-wear claims. If the US lists PTFE or perfluoro/polyfluoro and the EU doesn't, that's a performance material swapped for compliance. Scan for donor names, MI, MCI, or long-chain parabens, propyl, isobutyl in US leave-on. If the brand boasts paraben-free in America but leans on MI in the fine print, then shows short-chain parabens in a European INCI with allergen disclosure, you're seeing two different solutions to the same preservation problem. Retailers quietly push these convergences. When a national chain bans intentionally added PFAS in house brand cosmetics, suppliers refactor. When a broadcaster's procurement spec requires PFAS-free on-air kits, vendors present harmonized alternatives. When a state's dioxane limit goes live, vacuum strip surfactants roll into the national plan because two detergent trains cost more than one. There's a human story inside the spreadsheet. A parent traveling buys the same baby lotion abroad. Their child's rash eases. Back home, the US bottle triggers the flare again. They didn't switch brands, the brand switched on them. A makeup artist rebuilds her kit around tubing mascaras and non-fluorinated film formers because overseas gigs demanded it, then never goes back. Clients stop complaining about removal. An eczema patient uses a European version of a sensitive cream and discovers the allergens listed. They avoid the exact note that used to swell their eyelids. The question isn't whether companies are bad actors. It's whether your trust can survive a quiet ingredient fork that only disappears when a law or a buyer pushes parity. If you want to accelerate harmonization, ask for the EU's transparency here. Publish fragrance allergens globally, state preservative systems by name, confirm dioxane controls, and commit to no intentionally added PFAS across makeup and dental item. When enough receipts demand one recipe, the logo stops meaning two different things depending on the airport. Thin skin, high stakes. Babies, teens, and eyes. Now we make it personal. Contact time, surface area, and the thinnest skin in the house. The rules change when a formula sits instead of rinses, when heat and occlusion push ingredients deeper, and when eyelids and lips don't have much barrier to bargain with. Start with babies. Their skin is thinner, their surface area to body weight is higher, and the diaper area is warm, moist, and covered. That's perfect for soothing balms, and perfect for exposure to preservatives and fragrance if you pick the wrong jar. Europe banned MI, MCI, and leave-ons because contact allergy exploded. The diaper aisle felt it first. Here, you'll still find sensitive, wipes with MI sitting at the tail end, and lotions that smell cozy because the fragrance never has to list allergen. One night routine tells the story. A parent warms a wipe, pats a zinc cream, snaps the diaper, and tucks a baby into freshly scented pajamas. The rash that wakes them at 2 a.m. didn't come from the diaper brand. It came from contact time, wipe residue plus fragrance on fabric pressed against thin skin for hours. The fix feels plain, water-based, fragrance-free, MI-free wipes, a simple zinc paste in a tube, fragrance-free laundry, and pumps over jars so milder preservation holds up. 48 hours later, cheeks calm and the nursery smells like nothing. That silence is the win. Teens live at the other edge. Long wear makeup, lip stains, body mists, and hours under fluorescent lights. Performance cells and PFAS hide behind it, perfluoro and polyfluoro film formers that make foundation transfer-proof and lipstick bulletproof. The label won't say forever, but PTFE does. Eyes pay first. Waterproof mascaras stick so well that removal demands oil baths and rubbing. The lash line gets raw, the sclera flares, and the cycle repeats because the wear looks unbeatable. There's a smarter trade. Tubing mascaras form polymer sleeves and slide off with warm water. Long-wear bases can lean on non-fluorinated film formers, acrylates, silicones, starches, and stay in place if you set and blot. Powder and a tissue beat a fluorinated shell. Lips tell their own truth. Simple bases, fewer dyes, and short lists reduce the sting, and a clear balm under matte stains cuts friction without a plastic jacket. Meanwhile, body mists map a room more than a person. If a school locker area smells like a department store, everyone's lungs are sharing one bottle. One rule helps: scent as a moment, not a fog. Spray on a scarf outside, not in a hall. Eyes and lips are thin, vascular, and unforgiving. Eyelids react faster than cheeks. Lash serums and brow tints ride close to the line, and oxidative dyes do real work with real allergen potential. Patch tests matter, not as theater, but as insurance, behind the ear 48 hours before anything that stays near eyes. For removers, skip fragranced oils and dual-phase shakes that red like perfume. Fragrance-free micellar in a pump with cotton or a clean cloth reduces variables. Technique matters as much as chemistry. Rinse hair back, not forward, so shampoo doesn't waterfall onto lids. Keep lather behind the ears. For raccoon-proof days, tubing formulas and a lukewarm washcloth beat scrubbing. Micro-stories make it stick. A preschool teacher kept reapplying hypoallergenic hand cream between diaper changes. Her knuckles burned and her eyelids puffed by lunchtime. The culprit wasn't chalk dust. It was fragrance on fabric and MI in the soap by the sink. Facilities swapped to fragrance-free, MI-free liquid soap and fragrance-free laundry for nap mats. Her hands healed. A high school dancer wore a PFAS-heavy foundation for competitions and cleansed 3 times a night. Breakouts and stinging wouldn't quit. The kit lead rebuilt her base. Non-fluorinated longwear, set and blot, tubing mascara, fragrance-free remover, and a brimmed cap during outdoor rehearsals. Skin steadied, makeup still red under lights, and removal stopped feeling like a punishment. Packaging is part of the risk profile. Airless pumps for baby lotion keep fingers out so gentler systems work. Jars by the changing table invite wet hands and stronger preservatives. Travel sizes live in hot cars. Soft plastics see heat and oil and let go more. Glass for oils and balms, capped and cool, keeps formulas closer to what the lab tested. In backpacks, a tinted mineral stick for faces lives better than a spray that fogs a bathroom mirror and lungs. The simple playbook you can keep. For babies, fragrance-free everything that touches lots of skin, detergent, wipes, lotion, and donor MI-free preservation in pumps. For teens, long wear without forever chemicals. Scan for PTFE and perfluoroterms. Choose tubing mascaras, set and blot, and keep removers fragrance-free. For eyes and lips, patch test dyes. Avoid oxidative chemistry near eyes unless professionally applied with ventilation and respect for timing. And keep formulas short. One more habit beats most marketing. If a product lives on thin skin for hours, its ingredient list matters more than any front label. If the room smells like the routine, you're breathing it. Quiet air is a result, not a compromise. Fragrance is a black box. Now the one word that hides the most: fragrance. On a US label, fragrance or parfum can legally stand in for dozens of chemicals: solvents to dissolve the scent, stabilizers to keep it shelf-stable, fixatives to make it cling to skin and fabric, and musks that linger in dust. You aren't told which ones. In Europe, common fragrance allergens must be listed by name above tiny thresholds: limonene, linalool, citral, and new rules expand that list further. Different shelves, same brand, different map. Here, what no front panel admits. Unscented can still rely on a masking fragrance to cancel base odors. That means a lotion that smells like nothing can still deliver a blend your skin argues with, while the word fragrance-free is the rarer signal that the blend isn't there at all. In everyday life, that gap shows up where fabric meets face. A pillowcase washed in a scented detergent announces itself the moment your head hits the cotton. 8 hours later, eyelids puff and you blame an eye cream you never changed. The culprit was the sheet. Fixatives are the long game. Historically, fragrance houses used phthalates like DEP to lock scent to fibers, and some blends still rely on fixatives with similar persistence goals. That persistence is why laundry feels fresh for days. It's also why nursery rooms red like diffusers hours after the dryer stops. Microcapsules add a second trick: tiny scent beads embedded in formulas that rupture with friction and heat. Walk, sit, hug, the capsule pops, and the room blooms again. fresh becomes a slow release. Musks are the base note most people can't name. Polycyclic musks like galaxolide are built to last, which is why they turn up in indoor dust and in water downstream. European regulators tighten the leash on certain musks and keep reassessing them. In the US, they can live behind fragrance. If closets and towels echo the same background note week after week, you're meeting persistence up close. What nobody tells you about the air: terpenes like limonene and alpha-pinene smell like lemons and pine. Indoors, they can react with ozone to form secondary pollutants, including ultrafine particles and small amounts of formaldehyde. Spray a citrus air refresher in a small bathroom with weak ventilation, and you've built a tiny smog factory while you fold towels. The label calls it odor elimination. Your lungs call it load. Quick field guide helps. If a product claims unscented, check the ingredient list for fragrance or masking fragrance. If it's there, it's scented for your immune system even if your nose can't tell. If a brand says phthalate-free fragrance, ask for proof, supplier attestation, or policy, not poetry. If a company sells in the EU, look for the allergen list abroad and demand parity here. Specificity is the foundation of trust. Micro-stories land the point. A copywriter wakes with puffy eyelids every Thursday. She swaps eye creams and blames pollen. The fix wasn't skincare, it was laundry. Rewash sheets and towels in a true fragrance-free detergent, skip softeners and dryer sheets, and air the room. By week 2, the swelling stops. Across town, a rideshare driver clips a vent freshener and parks in the sun. Heat turns the cabin into a scent chamber. Headaches arrive by shift, not by weather. He removes the clip, cracks windows between trips, and keeps the car neutral. Ratings stay high. Headaches stop keeping score. Here, how the split shows up in the same brand's 2 websites. The EU page lists limonene and linalool under allergens and points to a restricted substance list. The US page says fragrance and posts a broad palette of possible components without confirming what's in your bottle today. That palette looks transparent. It tells you nothing about your exact product. When you email, the European support team sends the allergen list. Here, you get adjectives. The company can disclose. It chooses where. Laundry and hair care are the scent pipelines most homes miss. A detergent scented with capsules carries fragrance into every room via fabric. A hair mist or fragranced hairspray move sent from bathroom to pillowcase. If you want to cut load fast, start there. True fragrance-free detergent, no softeners or dryer sheets, wool balls if you need them, and a window cracked during drying. In the shower, make body wash and hand soap fragrance-free by default. That single cart choice moves more chemistry out of your air than any candle swap ever will. If you still want scent, make it a moment, not a background. Pick one product you love from a brand that discloses allergens and confirms phthalate-free fragrance. Use it for an event, then stop. Scent should be a scene, not a room tone. Your nose will reset within 2 weeks. Your headaches often will too. Packaging is part of the formula. We've talked formulas. Now the part you don't see on the ingredient list, the container that quietly rewrites the chemistry you bring home. Packaging isn't a box around the product. It's contact time, heat, oil, and friction moving small amounts of material into what goes on skin, hair, lips, and teeth. Start with a simple truth. Plastics aren't one thing, and neither are their additives. A soft squeeze tube for a balm, a rigid jar for a cream, a multi-layer pump for sunscreen. Each uses different polymers, plasticizers, and liners. Put oil inside and heat outside. Bathrooms, glove compartments, beach bags, and diffusion becomes the rule, not the exception. That's why a face oil that smelled bright in an amber bottle turns flat when it's warehoused in thin polypropylene at summer temp. The formula did go bad on its own. The package nudged it. BPA-free doesn't mean safe by default. Many lids, liners, and composite walls swapped BPA for cousins like BPS or BPF. Same job, similar questions. You don't need a polymer lecture to lower the risk. You need a few design choices that let the formula rely on milder preservation and fewer reactive surfaces. Airless pumps limit air and fingers, so preservative load drops. Jars invite wet hands, tap water, and stronger systems to hold the line. Over months, that difference reads on skin as fewer stings and less redness. Glass is boring for a reason. Oils and balms live cleaner in amber or clear glass with lined caps. They're less reactive, easier to keep cool, and more honest about what time and light are doing. For travel, small aluminum tubes with food-grade linings beat wide mouth plastic pots that lounge on a hot dashboard. If you've ever opened a lip balm left in a car and tasted the glove box, that was the package talking. Now the hidden pipeline, closures and liners. Many pumps and sprayers rely on elastomers and long plastic threads that touch product every dose. If a formula is acidic, oily, or solvent-leaning, think makeup removers, hair oils, vitamin C serums. It's more likely to extract small amounts from soft parts. Brands know this. Good ones test for it. As a shopper, you can read the signal. Products that name materials, glass bottle, aluminum tube, airless PET with barrier, and explain stability aren't doing poetry. They're telling you they tested the container as part of the system. It is the villain you control. Bathrooms trap steam, suitcases stew on tarmacs, backpacks bake in lockers. Each degree up accelerates reactions, preservatives working harder, fragrances oxidizing, pigments shifting. Sunscreens especially hate heat, UV filters lose punch when cooked. That's not a fear line, it's travel planning. Keep a face stick by the door and a body pump in the bag you don't leave in the car. Rotate small sizes so they finish before summer turns the cap into a greenhouse. Meanwhile, aerosols bring their own baggage. Propellants plus solvents create fine mists that coat lungs, mirrors, and tiles. We've seen recalls when benzene contaminated propellant streams. You won't see that on a label because it wasn't intentional. You can skip the category where a pump, stick, or powder works. Dry shampoos, sunscreens, setting sprays. If you insist, use them outdoors, downwind, and not near kids or closed rooms. Micro story lands it. A makeup artist swore her kit kept going rancid in July. She depurged half her creams before she noticed the pattern. The worst offenders lived in jars, traveled in hot trunks, and touched dozens of fingers. She moved to airless compacts, portioned into single-use pods for shoots, and stored backup stock in a cool bin. The spoilage stopped. It wasn't her standards. It was packaging under heat and hand. Another one. A parent loved a diaper balm in a squat tub. It lived on a changing table under a nightlight. The pediatrician spotted the setup. Warm room, open jar, wet fingers. They switched to the same formula in a crimped aluminum tube, fragrance-free. Night wakes for itching dropped because the preservation could be milder in a tighter package. Dental and lip care at a quiet angle. PTFE tape floss feels premium because it slides on a plastic that lasts forever. You can pick silk, nylon, or UHMWP in a simple spool and avoid the fluorinated slip. For balms, short lists in metal or glass beat mystery blends in soft plastic that travel hot. Small habits, big contact areas. Storage is the easy win nobody sells. Keep backups in a closet not above the dryer. Don't park oils by a sunny window. Cap everything fully, oxygen is chemistry. Wipe threads, pumps shut better when clean and less air sneaks in. If a bottle leaks, it's not just messy. It's a sign the closure and formula don't get along. Here's the play you can run without new brands. Move high-contact leave-ons, body lotion, baby care, eye creams into pumps or airless. Favor glass for oils and potent actives. Use tubes for diaper pastes and hand creams that live near sinks. Ditch aerosols where a stick or pump exists. Don't microwave plastics, ever. And treat heat like an ingredient you didn't buy. Keep it out of the routine, and a lot of tiny problems never show up. Shampoo, moisturizer, sunscreen. The daily trio. We've raided the cabinet. Now build a routine that holds up when you're half awake, late for school drop-off, or packing for a weekend. 3 anchors decide most of your daily exposure. What you wash with, what stays on your skin, and what shields you outside. Shampoo, moisturizer, sunscreen. Get these right and the rest becomes optional. Start at the scalp. Ethoxylated surfactants give you that silky lather, but they can carry 14-dioxane unless suppliers clean it up. Labels don't list contaminants. Brands that control it say so. Vacuum-stripped, dioxane-reduced, supplier specs posted. If a company won't answer, you've got another path. Non-ethoxylated systems. Look for modern glucosides and sarcosonates that still rinse clean. Then the preservation. We've already met formaldehyde donors and MIMCI. Avoid them outright. Pick bases preserved with sodium benzoate-potassium sorbate at low pH, dihydrocetic acid, or gluconolactone plus sodium benzoate, backed by packaging that helps, pumps and flip-tops, not wide-mouthed tubs. Technique matters, too. Keep lather behind the ears. Rinse back, not forward, so it doesn't waterfall onto eyelids. Hot water feels satisfying. Warm water is kinder to skin and surfactant. Moisturizer is exposure math, not marketing. It sits for hours over a lot of real estate. That's why location and contact time beat slogans. Anchor rules are simple, fragrance-free by default. No MIMCI, no formaldehyde donors. Skip long-chain parabens, propyl, isobutyl in leave-ons that cover large areas, body lotion, eye cream, diaper area, lip balm. If your skin tolerates short-chain parabens, methyl and ethyl can be reasonable in specific contexts because the alternatives can sting. But let the package do some work. Airless pumps and tubes reduce finger dipping and let milder systems thrive. Jars invite water and stronger preservatives. Build a light and rich pair you can swap with weather and clothing. Thin layers, not dollops. Occlusion increases absorption and can trap irritants as much as moisture. Microstory makes it real. A distance runner kept getting strap-shaped rashes after showers. She blamed sweat. The pattern was moisture plus time. She switched to a fragrance-free pump preserved without donors or MI, applied thinner layers on damp skin and let shirts dry before wearing. The marks faded in a week. Her skin didn't need a hero ingredient. It needed fewer extras for longer hours. Now the non-negotiable. Sunscreen. Protection is mandatory. Filters are a choice. For faces and kids, mineral is the quiet win. Zinc oxide or titanium dioxide, ideally in creams or sticks that don't fog small rooms or lungs. Tinted mineral solves cast for many tones and adds iron oxides that help with visible light if you fight melasma or post-acne marks. Avoid oxybenzone and octinoxate. If someone in your house refuses mineral, choose a chemical blend without those two and make reapplication a ritual, not a debate. Pumps beat sprays. Sprays waste product and turn bathrooms into inhalation booths. If you insist on a spray for a beach day, go outside, spray onto hands, and rub in. Compliance is texture, not willpower. Keep a face tube by the toothbrushes, a stick by the door for ears, noses, and necks, and a body pump in the bag with towels. 2 finger lengths for a face, a shot glass for a body, 15 minutes before sun, every 2 hours outside, sooner after toweling. Set a timer. When kids balk, tint helps because they can see what they missed. On long days, clothing reduces square inches you have to paint. Brims, UPF shirts, shade during breaks. Each shrinks the chemical workload. 2-week trial plan ties this together. Week 1, keep your shampoo base but swap to donor and MI-free. Confirm dioxane control or pick a non-ethoxylated formula. Log how your scalp, eyelids, and neck feel. Week 2, replace moisturizer with a fragrance-free pump using milder preservation. Apply thin layers on damp skin. Add mineral face sunscreen every morning and a stick by the door. Expect small changes, not fireworks. Quiet eyelids, fewer red patches under straps, less sting around the nose with sunscreen, a bathroom that smells like water and tile. Those are your green lights. Remember surface area. Shampoo is a frequent rinse-off, so preservation and process control matter. Moisturizer is hours on skin, so fragrance and long-chain parabens matter. Sunscreen is daily, large area contact, so format and filter matter. Dose beats drama. More detergent isn't cleaner, heavier moisturizer isn't more hydrating, and extra sunscreen only works if it's on the skin, not the towel. Final micro story. A lifeguard hated chalky mineral, so she skipped reapplying. After a season of burns, she switched to a tinted zinc gel for her face, a mineral stick for ears and nose, a pump lotion for arms, and a brimmed hat. She kept blot papers in the tower and reapplied at whistle breaks. The burns stopped. No sermons, just better formats and a clock. Routine beats slogans. Build your trio once, let packaging do its part, and make reapplication automatic. The wind shows up when your skin and your air go quiet, and you still get out the door on time. Makeup. Long wear without forever chemicals. Makeup is where performance sells and shortcuts hide. If the bottle promises 24-hour, transfer-proof, waterproof, or bulletproof, read the panel like a contract. You're hunting for fluorinated red flags, PTFE, perfluoro, polyfluoro, and fluorosilicone variants. They're popular because they make pigments glide, film formers lock, and oil resist. They also linger in places you don't intend, on skin, in towels, down drains. Start with foundation. The long wear you actually need is grip, not glue. Scan the list. If you spot PTFE or any perfluoro/polyfluoro term mid-panel, that's your signal to move. The non-fluorinated play is simple. Prime with silicone or acrylate polymers that create a micromesh. Apply thin layers of a long-wear base that uses acrylates or starch-based film formers, then set and blot. Press loose silica or mica powder, blot with a tissue, and mist a standard alcohol water setting spray. That trio beats a fluorinated shell for most faces, survives commutes and lights, and comes off without a solvent bath. Concealer follows the same rule. Shorter wear areas don't need forever chemistry. A high-pigment, non-fluorinated concealer feathered into place, set with powder, and lightly tapped midday keeps coverage intact. If creasing haunts you, tap a Whisper of Eye Safe primer first. It's a texture fix, not a chemical escalation. Eyes are the negotiation you can win. Waterproof mascaras feel indispensable until removal turns into rub and dread. Tubing formulas solve it without PFAS. They build tiny polymer sleeves around lashes and rinse off with warm water and gentle pressure, not oil scrubbing. You get smudge resistance that survives sweat and tears, then slide off removal that protects the lash line. For liners, skip infallible when the panel leans fluorinated. Gel pencils with non-fluorinated polymers, set with shadow, hold through a normal day. If you need true lock for stage or heat, a thin line of cake liner activated with setting liquid and sealed with powder stays put and still releases at night. Brows are thin skin plus daily habit. Many tinted gels and pens hold with acrylates just fine. Scan for fluoro and move on if you see it. A clear gel set first, tint second keeps shape without loading chemistry. For laminated looks, choose brands that publish no intentionally added PFAS and back it with testing or retailer compliant. Lips look simple and cause the most stings. Liquid mattes often lean on plasticized films that feel like armor. You can get most of that durability with a layering method. A creamy bullet or pencil base, blot, a thin veil of translucent powder, then a second light pass. For serious wear, choose non-fluorinated long-wear formulas with short lists and fewer lakes and reds if you're reactive. A clear balm under matte stains reduces friction and fade without a fluorinated slip agent. At night, remove with a fragrance-free balm or micellar. Skip perfumed two-phase removers. Your lips keep score. Complexion extras are where PFAS sneak. Primers, liquid highlighters, featherweight blurs. Again, look for acrylates, silicones, and starches doing the heavy lifting. A silica-rich loose powder and a gentle blot can replace a fluorinated, soft-focus base. If oil control is the battle, oil-absorbing papers plus a pressed non-talc powder solve the afternoon shine without building a plastic coat. Artists already ran this math. Under lights, they pivoted to non-fluorinated long-wear bases, set and blot, and tubing mascara because clients hated removal. Kits went quieter. Silicone primers, starch film formers, acrylate seals, powders doing the last 10%. Performance stayed. Red eyes and raw lids stopped showing up at call time. What nobody tells you is how to read PFAS clues quickly. In a store aisle, flip, scan for PTFE or perfluoro/polyfluoro. If present, put it back unless you're building a weatherproof kit you can't replace. Check brand policies, no intentionally added PFAS, total fluorine testing, retailer compliance lists. A sentence on a website isn't proof. A policy with test methods is. If a brand sells in a region with PFAS restrictions, ask whether the US formula matches the EU one. Harmonized runs cut your guesswork. Removal is where skin wins or loses. Fragrance-free micellar in a pump, a warm washcloth, and patience beet-scented oils and aggressive scrubs. For tubing mascaras, lukewarm water and gentle pressure. For stubborn liners, hold then wipe, no sawing. Save acids and retinoids for non-makeup nights. Stacked irritation plus friction is the quiet breakout engine people call purging. Build a PFAS-free kit in 5 moves. 1. A non-fluorinated long-wear foundation you can apply thinly. 2. A silicone or acrylate primer that grips. 3. A silica or mica loose powder and a compact pressed for travel. 4. Tubing mascara. 5. A non-fluorinated setting spray you missed, not soak. Add a cream blush and sheer stick highlighter to reduce layers that crack. Creams move with skin, so you use less hold chemistry. Keep blot papers in your bag. They buy you another hour without adding product. 2 micro stories make it stick. A morning show host wore bulletproof base for years and ended each day with raw eyes. The station mandated PFAS-free kits. She switched to a non-fluorinated long-wear foundation, set and blot routine, and tubing mascara. Viewers noticed nothing. Her cleanse stopped burning. A college actor relied on waterproof liner that needed oil scrubs. He moved to cake liner and powder seal on show nights, tubing mascara, and a fragrance-free remover. His lids healed, and he stopped dreading strike. Performance without forever chemicals isn't a compromise. It's a method. Thin layers, smart polymers, powder, blot, and removal that respect skin. If the panel says fluoro, it's not a moral test. It's a choice about how hard tonight's cleanse has to be and whether tomorrow's skin feels like makeup or looks like it. The ingredient red flag field guide. We've talked strategy. Here's the fast field guide you can run with one thumb in the aisle. Not theory, names you'll actually see, why they matter, and realist swaps that don't wreck your routine. Start with formaldehyde donors. Red flags: DMDM hydantoin, quaternium 15, imidazolidinylurea, diazolidinylurea, bronopol. Stakes: they preserve by slowly releasing formaldehyde, a well-known skin sensitizer, and heat and steam speed that release. Look for them near the end of water-heavy formulas. Shampoos, body washes, liquid soaps, kids' bath. Swaps that hold. Donor-free systems like sodium benzoate and potassium sorbate at low pH, dihydrocetic acid or gluconolactone plus sodium benzoate, backed by pumps or airless so milder systems work. Impact you'll feel: fewer neck folds, itching after showers, fewer nape rashes on kids. Now MCI, methylisothiazolinon and methylchloroisothiazolinon. Red flags: methylisothiazolinon, methylchloroisothiazolinon, or cathon. They hide in sensitive wipes, hand soaps, dish liquids, shampoos, bucket cleaners. Stakes: high contact frequency plus thin skin equals allergy spikes, eyelids, lips, hands, diaper area. Where they lurk most: wipes with gentle claims, foaming soaps by public sinks, bargain cleaners. Better preservation families: the same donor-free systems above, plus multifunctionals like caprylyl glycol for wipes, water-based, fragrance-free, MI-free varieties. Real-life move: if your eyelids burn, replace the hand soap before you replace the eye cream. Parabens need nuance. Red flags to avoid in leave-ons that cover lots of skin: propylparaben, isopropylparaben, isobutylparaben, butylparaben. Lower concern options if you tolerate them: methylparaben and ethylparaben, particularly in rinse-offs or tight, well-designed leave-ons where alternatives sting. Stakes: location and time. Eye creams, body lotions, diaper balms, and lip products live for hours. Simple triage: cut long-chain parabens from those. Allow short-chain if your skin prefers them to MI or donors. Packaging is part of the call. Airless pumps reduce preservative stress. Jars invite stronger systems. PFAS: scan for PTFE and any perfluoro/polyfluoro terms. You'll meet them in long-wear foundation, waterproof mascara, featherweight blurs, and yes, dental floss. Stakes: persistence and removal rituals that punish skin. Swaps: tubing mascaras, acrylate or silicone film formers plus powder instead of fluorinated coats, UHMWPE, silk, or nylon floss. Quick test: if removal requires oil scrubbing and rubbing nightly, performance is doing too much. Dyes can be quiet irritants. Red 40, yellow 5, yellow 6 show up across lip products and some skincare gels. Stakes: for some they're just color. For sensitive lips and perioral skin, they're the unexplained sting. Where to watch: lip tints, flavored balms, bright gels. Alternatives: tinted minerals, iron oxides, or fewer dye bullets. Impact: calmer lip lines without sacrificing shade. 1,4-dioxane won't be on the label. Clues live in ethoxylated names: sodium lauryl sulfate, peg-eth-oxanol. Stakes: it's a process contaminant you can't see. Controls happen upstream. What you can do: pick brands that state dioxane control or pivot to non-ethoxylated systems. Glucosides, sarcosonates in shampoos and cleansers. Result: same clean, less ghost in the drain. Fragrance is one word. Treat it like a category. Red flags: fragrance, parfum, masking fragrance. Stakes: undisclosed allergens and fixatives, terpenes that react indoors, microcapsules that turn fabric into slow emitters. Where to watch hardest: laundry, lotions, hand soaps, baby care. Better: true fragrance-free for core products. If you want scent, choose brands that disclose allergens and confirm phthalate-free blends, then use sparingly. Simple test: if a room smells fresh after cleaning, you added air chemistry, not cleanliness. Benzene shows up as contamination in aerosols when propellants go wrong. You won't detect it on panels. Conservative play: choose pumps, sticks, and powders over sprays for sunscreens, dry shampoos, and setting mists, especially in small rooms. If you must spray, do it outdoors and away from faces. Quats benzalkonium chloride, dialkyl dimethylammonium chloride aren't cosmetics, but they hitchhike on hands via wipes and fabric softeners. Stakes: respiratory and skin irritation with routine exposure. Field move: reserve heavy disinfectants for true messes, drop softeners and drier sheets, let towels be towels. Label speed: run you can memorize. Down the tail: DMDM hydantoin, quaternium 15, imidazolidinyl/diazolidinylurea, bronopol, MCI. Put it back in leave-ons. Think twice in frequent rinse-offs. Mid-panel: PTFE, perfluoro/polyfluoro. Find a non-fluorinated alternative. Frontline, fragrance. Reach for fragrance-free in body-wide leave-ons and laundry. Unscented can still hide a masking fragrance. Peg words in cleansers. Ask about dioxane control or pivot surfactants. Parabens cut long chain in leave-ons. Short chain only if your skin prefers them to harsher swaps. Realist swaps to keep on a sticky note. Pumps airless over jars. Mineral sticks over spray sunscreens indoors. Tubing mascara over waterproof. Water-based MI-free wipes over sensitive scented ones. Fragrance-free detergent. No softeners. Wool balls for static. You don't need a perfect cart. You need fewer daily drips in the places that hit the most skin and air. Run this list once, and your bathroom starts telling a different story. Quiet lids, quieter rooms, and a label that finally reads like a map you can use. How to pressure test brands. We've cleaned up the routine. Now make companies meet you halfway. Pressure testing a brand isn't about shaming. It's about asking questions only good formulas can answer, and doing it in a way support teams can't dodge with adjectives. Start with dioxane control. If a cleanser or shampoo lists ethoxylated clues, Loreth, Peg, oxynol, send one email. How do you control 14-dioxane in ethoxylated inputs? Ask for specifics, supplier specifications, vacuum stripping, batch testing, and numeric limits. Real answers mention methods and numbers. Safe as used is not a method. Below X ppm by GCMS lot tested is. Next, preservatives. Ask, what preservative system does this product use? Do any leave-on products contain methylisothiazolinone (MI), methylchloroisothiazolinone (MCI), or formaldehyde-releasing preservatives like DMDM hydantoin, imidazolidinolurea, diazolidinolurea, quaternium-15, or bronopol? Brands that know their formulas will list the system. Sodium benzoate potassium sorbate at low pH, dihydrocetic acid, gluconolactone plus sodium benzoate, caprylyl glycol. And confirm MI, MCI, and donors are out of leave-ons. Now PFAS. For makeup, floss, and 24-hour claims, ask, do you use any intentionally added PFAS in this line? PTFE, perfluoro, polyfluoro, or fluorosilicones? Do you conduct total fluorine screening on finished goods? Retailer-compliant brands say no intentionally added PFAS and back it with test programs or retailer standards. If they hedge, we follow all laws. You're still in the dark. Fragrance is next. Ask for phthalate-free fragrance confirmation and allergen disclosure. Phrase it plainly. Is your fragrance phthalate-free? Do you disclose you listed fragrance allergens globally for this product? If they sell in Europe, they already track allergens like limonene and linalool. A strong answer links to an allergen list or a global disclosure policy. A weak answer sends you to a fragrance palette page listing hundreds of possibilities with zero product-level detail. Then packaging. Ask, what is the primary container material and liner? Have you conducted compatibility testing with this formula under heat and light? Bonus points if they specify airless pumps, lined aluminum tubes, or glass for oils and actives. Packaging that supports milder preservation is a design choice, not a coincidence. Put those questions into a template you can send in 3 minutes. How do you control 14-dioxane in ethoxylated inputs? Methods, limits, batch tests. Which preservative system does this SKU use? And are MI, MCI, or formaldehyde donors present in any leave-ons? Are any intentionally added PFAS used? PTFE, perfluoro/polyfluoro? Do you run total fluorine testing? Is the fragrance phthalate-free? And do you disclose EU fragrance allergens globally? What packaging materials are in contact with the formula? And what compatibility testing did you perform? Give support teams 5 business days. Save the thread. Silence is an answer, so is poetry without numbers. While you wait, use retailer leverage. Big chains already enforce standards on house brands. No intentionally added PFAS, MI, MCI bans in leave-ons, numeric dioxane caps, and EU-style allergen disclosure online. Shopping those lines isn't brand loyalty. It's buying access to testing you didn't pay for. Many national pharmacies and beauty retailers publish their restricted substance lists. Bookmark them. If your favorite product flunks one policy, ask the brand why they won't meet the same bar. Global harmonization is your next pressure point. If the EU product page lists allergens or uses a different preservative system, send both links to the US support inbox and ask for parity. Why doesn't the US page disclose the same allergens? When will the US formula match the EU's MI-free leave-on policy? Companies hate running two recipes. You're helping finance do the math faster. Watch for greenwashing tells. Phrases like dermatologist-tested, hypoallergenic, plant-based, or reef-friendly don't answer the 5 questions. If a brand leads with poetry, scroll to the substantiation. Good sites maintain ingredient glossaries with specific limits and test methods. Better ones publish white papers. Best-in-class list allergens, confirm preservative systems, state no intentionally added PFAS, and show dioxane number. Micro-stories make the point. A parent emailed 2 detergent brands. Brand A replied with adjectives and a link to a fragrance palette. Brand B attached a PDF. Dioxane less or equal to 1 ppm. Lot tested, no fragrance. Benzoate sorbate preservation, airless refill program. They switched. The baby's eczema flares eased. A morning show demanded PFAS-free kits. One vendor sent, we comply with laws. Another shipped products with total fluorine certificates and INCI decks free of PTFE. Guess whose invoice got approved? Use simple public tests when brands stonewall. For PFAS, third-party labs offer rapid total fluorine screens. You can't do that at home, but journalists and NGOs publish lists. For fragrance-driven eyelid rashes, your home test is practical. Rewash linens with true fragrance-free detergent, no softeners, 2 weeks. If symptoms drop, you found leverage, not a cure. Procurement multiplies your personal leverage. If you sit on a PTA, clinic board, gym committee, or newsroom team, write a 1-page spec. Fragrance-free soaps and laundry for shared linens, MI-free leave-ons, numeric dioxane caps for cleaners and shampoos, no intentionally added PFAS in cosmetics and dental items, pumps and airless over aerosols indoors. Vendors align faster for contracts than for comments. Finally, vote with receipts and receipts with notes. When you buy, leave a review calling out the preservative system or PFAS policy by name. When you return, say why. Contains MI in a leave-on is data. Gave me a rash is a story. Both move dashboards. Pressure testing isn't about perfection. It's about clarity. Ask 5 questions, reward numbers, walk when you get poetry. That's how your cart starts writing the policy your label didn't. The building playbook. Schools, gyms, clinics. Homes change fastest, but the air that hits the most lungs lives in shared buildings. Schools, gyms, clinics. One decision in purchasing changes thousands of routines at once. The playbook isn't glamorous. It's a page of specs, a fan that actually runs, and vendors who want the contract more than the slogan. Start where people sleep and sweat. Laundry, shared linens, nap mats, towels, scrubs. Make fragrance-free the rule, not a request. No softeners, no dryer sheets. Heat bake sent into fabric and fogs hallways at changeover. Switch to wool dryer balls, shorten dry times to reduce static, and crack doors or run exhaust for real airflow. 2 weeks later, nurses stopped joking about tasting laundry in the break room. No aerosols indoors. Pumps and wipes where formats are unavoidable, but default to soap, water, microfiber, and peroxide cleaners for daily use. Quats earn their keep for blood, vomit, and outbreak notices, nowhere else. Train dwell time like a drill, spray, let it sit, then wipe. Post the minutes on the wall so fear doesn't outrun instruction. Add 1 fan to each space you actually clean. Move air out, not just around. Fragrance policies need to be clear and kind. No personal scented products in clinical areas and classrooms. Put it on onboarding checklists. Provide unscented hand cream, fragrance-free soap, and a neutral detergent station so compliance feels like support, not punishment. Remind folks that unscented isn't fragrance-free unless the label says it. Masking fragrances count. When a hallway stops smelling like a candle store, it's not a downgrade. It's less chemistry per breath. Preservation choices matter in leave-ons. Ban MI/MCI in all leave-on products used in-house, hand creams at nurses' stations, infant care in clinics, any lotion in locker rooms. Tighten rinse-off picks, too, because frequency stacks. Fragrance-free, MI-free liquid soaps at sinks. No donors in shampoos in shared showers. Put pumps on everything. Jars invite fingers and stronger preservative loads that follow hands back to faces and wiped. Procurement specs win or lose this fast. Keep them short, numeric, testable. Fragrance-free for all hand soaps and shared laundry. No masking fragrance. No aerosols for routine indoor use. Pumps only. Ventilation on during cleaning. Daily cleaners. Soap, water, microfiber, or hydrogen peroxide. Quats reserved for posted high-risk tasks. MI/MCI prohibited in all leave-ons. Not permitted in rinse-offs, used more than 5 times daily per worker. 14 dioxane. Ethoxylated inputs must meet supplier specs with vacuum stripping. Less or equal to 1 ppm in finished cleaners and shampoos used on-site, lot tested. No intentionally added PFAS in cosmetics, on-air kits, wellness programs, dental floss in clinic giveaways, or facility-supplied personal care. Packaging, prefer pumps airless. No wide-mouth jars for shared products. Vendors can meet this. Many already do for other clients. Ask for certificates or policy statements, total fluorine screens for PFAS, GCMS for dioxane, full INCI with preservative systems, allergen disclosure for any fragranced event items. Price these into the bid. You pay either at the invoice or at the nurse's station later. Worker logs turn anecdotes into action. Give staff a one-page form, product name, lot code, room, time, symptom. A custodian coughs after fogging. The log shows the same wipe in small rooms with windows shut. Swap to peroxide, open fans, retrain on dwell time. A preschool teacher's headaches spike on nap mat laundry day. Switch to fragrance-free detergent, kill softeners, and give families a note about home scent transfer. Complaints drop. The building feels different because the air is different. Micro-stories landed. A district buyer faced a spike in nurse visits after switching to bargain fragranced wipes. She circled BAC and DDAC on the safety sheets, called vendors, and standardized on fragrance-free soaps, peroxide cleaners, and quats for outbreaks only. 2 weeks, fewer coughs. A gym dumped aerosol disinfectant bombs, added pumps, posted fans at doors, and moved to alcohol wipes on handles. Members stopped tasting chemicals mid-set. A clinic saw infant rashes that tracked to MI in a leave-on, hospital gentle lotion. They rewrote the spec. MI, MCI prohibited, donors banned, tubes over jars. Parents stopped asking for steroid samples. Signage matters, replace kills 99.9% posters with method. Clean first, soap, water, microfiber, disinfect when posted, let it sit X minutes, ventilate, put a tape timer on the cart. People follow instructions they can see. Finally, normalize scent as a vent. For ceremonies or performances, choose one product with disclosed allergens, confirm phthalate-free fragrance, use it briefly, then stop. Don't turn rooms into diffusers. The show ends when the door closes. Buildings learn, write the spec once, train once, put fans where work happens, track the pattern. Vendors align because contracts beat press releases. The win isn't a new smell. It's when the room smells like nothing, kids nap without rubbing eyes, staff stop counting headaches, and the inbox gets quiet. That silence is policy working. The 8-week bathroom reset. We've done the detective work. Now give your bathroom a deadline. 8 weeks. 1 cart change at a time. No splurges, no hero products, just fewer daily drips in the spots that touch the most skin and air. Week 1, laundry. This is the house's soundtrack. Switch to a true fragrance-free detergent. No masking fragrance, no boosters. Ditch softeners and dryer sheets. Add wool balls, shorten dry times, and crack a window during cycles. Rewash sheets and towels to strip legacy scent. By Thursday, the room stops smelling like fresh. That quiet is your proof. Week 2, moisturizers in pumps. Leave-ons drive exposure. Move body lotion and face moisturizer to fragrance-free pumps preserved without MI, MCI, or formaldehyde donors. If your skin tolerates short-chain parabens, methyl ethyl can be acceptable in certain formulas. Avoid long-chain propyl/isobutyl in wide-coverage leave-ons. Thin layers on damp skin, then shirts once dry. Red patches under straps start fading. Week 3, sunscreen defaults. Make mineral your face and kids rule, zinc or titanium, creams and sticks. Keep a tinted tube by the toothbrushes, a stick by the door, and a body pump in the bag. If someone refuses mineral, choose a chemical option without oxybenzone/octinoxate and set reapply alarms. Sprays live outdoors, sprayed onto hands, then rubbed in. Week 4, shampoo and conditioner. If your bottle lists Loreth/PEG/Eth names, email the brand about 1,4-dioxin control. If they won't answer, pivot to non-ethoxylated systems, glucosides, sarcosonates. Cut formaldehyde donors and MI/MCI. Keep lather behind the ears. Rinse back, not forward. Hot feels good, warm treats eyelids better. Week 5, makeup sanity check. Scan long wear for PTFE or perfluoro/polyfluoro. Swap to non-fluorinated long-wear bases, silicone acrylate primers, set and blot, and tubing mascaras. Fragrance-free remover in a pump. If removal hurts, performance is doing too much. Your mirror won't notice, your lash line will. Week 6, Fragrance Strategy Part 1, Pull Plugins, Retire Fabric Sprays. Keep scent as an event, not a room tone. If you want a moment, choose one product from a brand that discloses allergens and confirms phthalate-free fragrance. Use it briefly, then stop. Rewash throw blankets and pillow covers fragrance-free. Headaches often drop by week's end. Week 7, Packaging Swaps. Move high-contact leave-ons, baby lotion, eye cream, hand cream into pumps or airless. Replace diaper pastes in tubs with crimped aluminum tubes. Store oils in glass away from heat and light. Ditch aerosols where a stick or pump works. The same formula preserved milder reaches you because fingers stopped visiting jars. Week 8, Fragrance Strategy Part 2, Community Air. Talk to roommates, kids, or your partner. Share the scent as a moment rule. Set a house note, fragrance-free laundry for all shared linens. Post a 2-line sign by the washer, no softeners, vent on. The hallway stops echoing someone else's bottle. Micro-stories make the calendar sticky. A dad swore his kid's nighttime cough was allergies. Week 1, Laundry, and Week 6, Fragrance pulled plugins. The cough vanished before they got to shampoo. A grad student's eyelids burned every exam week. Week 4, Rinse Back, and Week 5, Tubing Mascara ended the stinging. A new parent's diaper rashes broke cycles in Week 2 with pump lotions, and Week 7 with tubes. Fewer preservatives touched small, warm skin. Technique upgrades ride along all 8 weeks. Vent during and after showers. Wipe threads and caps so closures seal. Keep backups cool and dark, not above dryers, not in cars. Measure detergents, more is residue, not clean. Patch test any new leave-on inner forearm for 3 days before putting it on faces or the diaper area. Money stays in your pocket by sequencing. One category each week means you finish open bottles where safe. Toss immediately only if it stings, burns, triggers coughs, or lists MI/MCI in a leave-on for kids. Replace aerosols you breathe near your face. Everything else can sunset as you line up replacements. How you'll know it's working: your bathroom smells like tile and water. Eyelids stop arguing with mornings. Towels feel like towels, not a scent memory. Makeup comes off with lukewarm water and patience, not scrubbing. Babies stop waking to rub cheeks at 2 a.m. The dryer door opens without a fog. Silence arrives where marketing used to live. 2 last levers keep it steady. A sticky note on the detergent cap marks your dose. A phone reminder pings to run the fan for 15 minutes after showers. Tiny habits that turn safe by slogan into safe by design. 8 weeks aren't a detox. They're a reset. You didn't make your house a lab. You made it boring in the best way. Fewer ghosts in the drain, fewer guesses on skin, and air that doesn't perform to prove it's clean. Why you're still falling for it? Get this, the bottle already knows what your brain wants. Scent memory does the heavy lifting. A grandmother's linen closet, a hoodie that smelled like home, the first apartment that didn't smell like the last tenant. Those moments paired clean with a smell. Years later, one whiff of cotton flips a switch. You're not evaluating chemistry. You're chasing a feeling the label rehearsed for you. Foam and glow are performance theater. Big suds red as power, even when removal is just surfactant math. A blinding highlight feels like health, even when it's a film former catching light. Kills 99.9%, marched from the hospital into your sink and became an answer to invisible worries. You're sold a guarantee, spray, wipe, done without a room for dose, time, and air. Theater beats technique until your lungs keep score. Default bias does the rest. You buy what lives on the end cap, what your parents bought, what your friend swears by. If no dramatic event happens, inertia wins. Even when a rash shows up, you explain it away: winter, skin, pollen, stress, because changing routines costs energy. The aisle counts on that. Substitutions nudge under familiar fonts and scents so you don't notice a different preservative or a stronger fixative writing along. There's a rebound trap, too. When you drop scent after years of residue, fabric feels scratchy, static pops in halls, and a vinegar rinse smells like vinegar for 10 minutes. People call the experiment a failure and run back to sheets. Brands know that discomfort window exists. Capsules are designed to carry you through it with a rolling bloom. The fix is ordinary. Lower heat, shorter dry times, wool balls, and a 2-week patience you can measure with fewer coughs, not louder towels. Social signaling keeps the loop tight. Houses perform. A guest says, "It smells amazing in here," and you feel seen. A locker room fogs with body mists, and no one wants to be the kid who does smell clean. Marketing leans in, recasting fragrance as wellness, lavender to sleep, citrus to focus, so a diffuser becomes a lifestyle, not a chemical choice. The room becomes a constant background that you stop smelling. Your headache diary doesn't. The labels help the theater along. Plant-based, hypoallergenic, dermatologist tested, reef-friendly. None of those phrases answer the questions you learn to ask. They don't tell you about am I in a leave-on, PTFE in a long wear, or dioxane controls in a shampoo. They give you an emotion to hold while the INCI lines stay vague. Unscented still hides masking fragrance. Free and clear often stops at dyes and perfume, while a sensitizer sits at the tail end. And then there's fear. After outbreaks and headlines, it's hard to put a bottle back that promises 99.9%. The idea of wiping away risk with a single product is compelling, especially when you're tired or rushed. But daily disinfection in small rooms isn't a protective habit. It's exposure plus residue plus unreal expectations. Clean first, disinfect when earned. That's the boring rule that saves skin and air. Here's the shift that sticks. Change what counts as proof. Don't wait for compliments about how your house smells. Watch for quieter eyelids, fewer rashes under waistbands, a hallway that doesn't fog when the dryer opens, makeup that comes off with lukewarm water and a cloth, and kids who sleep through the night. Those are outcomes, not vibes. Treat silence as data. One micro-story nails it. A college roommate insisted the apartment needed freshening before friends came over. They agreed on a rule: crack windows, run the fan, and spray a scarf outside just before guests arrive. The room stayed neutral. People complimented the food. Headaches stopped lining up with Thursdays. Another one, a barber switched the shop from aerosol sprays to pumps and a peroxide cleaner with a posted dwell time. Customers still called it the cleanest cuts in town. Staff hands healed. The back room stopped smelling like a solvent closet. Your brain isn't a flaw, it's trained, so give it a new cue. Let clean be a result. Quiet air, calm skin, clear routines. Use scent as a moment you choose, not a signal you carry all day. Make performance about removal and fit, not foam and permanence. And let numbers, not adjectives, decide who earns your money. That's how the spell breaks without turning your life into a chemistry set. Clean never needed a smell, and safety never needed a secret. Quiet air and honest labels beat theater every time. If you want the cheat sheet with ingredient red flags, a 2-week swap plan, and the email template brands can't dodge, grab it in the next video. Subscribe for the deep dives that map real fixes, not slogans, and share this with the person who buys for your home. Your cart changes shelves faster than laws. Start the human ledger, clinics, pets, schools. If you want to see the gap without reading a single regulation, sit in waiting rooms. Allergists call it the barrel. Small daily exposures stack until a modest extra splash tips symptoms. They don't see villains, they see patterns. Micro story: Sunday night, a toddler's chest tightens after sheet day. The pediatrician suggests a 2-week trial. True fragrance-free detergent, no softener, extra rinse. By the second Sunday, no late-night neb. The detergent didn't cause asthma, it stopped loading the barrel. Allergists map the hotspots the way building inspectors map leaks. Eyelids and neck folds flare with fragranced laundry and am I preserved? Sensitive. Soaps. Hands split where dish liquids and foam soaps carry isothiazolinons. Chests tighten on bathroom cleaning days where quats hang in steam. Migraine diaries line up with plug-in refill schedules and fabric sprays before guests arrive. They test, confirm, and prescribe the same boring plan. Remove common triggers first, reintroduce slowly, ventilate when you can, and keep the black box off the skin you wear all day. Clinicians also see the downstream of the invisible passengers. Hotel housekeepers who wash in hot water all day carry raw knuckles that heal when facilities switch to simpler soaps, MI-free hand wash, gloves for wet work, and posted ventilation. A home health aide's cough in winter eases when the care plan drops aerosol foams and spaces bleach away from everything acidic. None of this is dramatic. It's routine done with air. Pets write their own ledger, closer to floors and fabric. A senior cat comes in with raw patches on her belly. The family loves a calming lavender softener. Warm towels are the cat's nap zone. The vet's answer is practical. True fragrance-free detergent, no softener, double rinse. 2 weeks later, fur returns. Dogs lick residues off paws after a fabric spray on the couch. Switching to washing covers with a low-residue formula stops the licking and the red webbing. Micro story: a runner wraps a fresh towel around her neck before a morning loop. 10 minutes in, her scalp prickles, then burns. Patch testing later flags a fragrance allergen likely formed by oxidation. She rewashes gear with a fragrance-free powder, double rinses, and keeps towels out of the dryer sheet cycle. The tingle never returns. The root didn't change, the fabric did. Schools and clinics feel like small cities. Their choices multiply quickly. A third-grade teacher wipes every desk with a fragranced quat wipe at 8:05. Windows are sealed. The HVAC chases cost, not air. By lunch, watery eyes and coughs send 2 kids to the nurse, and the teacher's knuckles burn. Facilities read labels, circle benzalkonium chloride and DDAC, and rewrite the routine. Soap and water to clean, hydrogen peroxide cleaner for daily touch points, stronger disinfectant only for bodily fluids and outbreak notices, fans on during and 20 minutes after. Nurse visits drop in 2 weeks. The lesson isn't chemistry bravado, it's contact time, product fit, and air. Micro story, a preschool posts no scented products after a month of mystery rashes and migraines. They swap to fragrance-free laundry for nap mats, remove plug-ins, and change table sprays to plain soap plus a peroxide cleaner. The rash log thins by month's end. Kids nap on fabric, not perfume. Janitorial carts can be quiet if procurement is loud. One-page specs, fragrance-free soaps, MI-free leave-ons, no aerosols indoors, peroxide cleaners for daily use, quats reserved for earned events do more than any memo about sensitivity. Vendors want contracts, they align. Custodians become censors, product name, lot code, room, time, symptom. Patterns beat complaints. Fans run during and after. Doors crack for 5 minutes to purge. Tiny, repeatable, boring. Sports programs see it in locker rooms and pools. Kills 99.9% foggers give way to alcohol on handles and soap on mats with fans propped open. Members stop tasting chemicals mid-set. Swim coaches ban aerosols on deck. Teams switch to pump sunscreens and mineral sticks for faces. Pool air stops smelling like perfume. Families living in shared air find second-hand exposures matter. Hallway plug-ins in apartments keep baseline VOCs up. Removing devices helps, but laundry rooms carry the rest. A tenant group asks management to remove diffusers and post fragrance-free detergent guidance. The air changes in a month, not because someone panicked, because buildings steer. Clinicians keep receipts. Isothiazolinons are well-documented sensitizers. Certain quats and bleach mists irritate airways. Terpenes react indoors to form secondary pollutants. 14-dioxane rides along in some ethoxylated systems and resists standard treatment. They'll also tell you variance is real. Some people tolerate a lightly scented product just fine. That's why the advice is a ladder. Strip common triggers, watch 2 weeks, reintroduce one thing at a time. Micro story, a violinist drops scented hand cream before rehearsals, fissures heal. A NICU nurse goes fragrance-free at home, her baby stops rubbing raw eyes. A rideshare driver quits vent clips and cracks windows for a minute between trips, the headaches he counted by shift stop. This ledger doesn't ask for purity, it asks for quiet. Simpler formulas where skin contact is longest. Fewer volatile sources in small rooms, targeted disinfection with time and air. Labels that name what matters. When the home gets quieter, clinics get quieter. That's how you measure it, by what doesn't happen. The clean exit, a simple, proven playbook. No shopping hall, no panic purge. One cart, a few habits, and the rooms you live in get quieter. Start with 5 daily workhorses and swap where contact is longest and repetition is constant. Shampoo, body or face lotion, sunscreen, deodorant, and laundry detergent. If there's a baby or sensitive skin at home, add wipes. If you wear long-wear makeup or floss nightly, those join the list. Shampoo first. Look for formulas without methylisothiazolinon or methylchloroisothiazolinon and skip heavy fragrance. If the surfactant's read with ETH or PEG, check the brand site for plain statements about 14-dioxane control or credible certifications that cap process contaminants. No info. Try non-ethoxylated bases, glucosides, or mild sulfates that rinse clean without drama. Keep lather behind the ears and let rinse water run back, not forward onto eyelid. 2 weeks tells you if your scalp, eyes, or neck quiet down. Lotion next, the long contact. Make leave-ons fragrance-free by default, not just unscented. Flip to the tail for preservative choices. Avoid long-chain parabens in big area creams and watch for formaldehyde donors like DMDM hydantoin, imidazolidinylurea, diazolidinylurea, or quaternium 15. Pumps and airless containers help milder systems work. Jars invite water and fingers, so they invite stronger preservation. Thinner layers do more with less occlusion. Store cool and capped so formulas don't need to fight heat. Sunscreen is non-negotiable. For faces and kids, lean mineral, zinc, or titanium, dearly tinted to avoid cast. Sticks for ears and noses, pump lotions for bodies, and sprays only outdoors with wind on your side. If a teen will only wear a chemical formula, choose options without oxybenzone or octinoxate, reapply on schedule, and add hats and sleeves. Performance is routine, not perfume. The bottle should smell like nothing. Deodorant versus antiperspirant is method, not identity. If odor is the problem, try an unscented deodorant built on magnesium hydroxide, zinc ricinoate, or mild acids. If wetness is the problem, use antiperspirant at night on dry skin so plugs form while you sleep. Rinse in the morning, and if needed, add a simple unscented deodorant. Shave at night, not minutes before. Fewer fragrances on irritated skin beats stacking strength. Laundry changes the whole house. Switch to a true fragrance-free detergent. Verify that unscented isn't a masking scent by reading the line. If it says fragrance, it isn't zero. Prefer powders or pods without added scent. Measure with a scoop or syringe. Ignore the caps theater. If you can smell clean clothes at arm's length, cut the dose, add water, or run an extra rinse for pillowcases and baby clothes. Retire softeners and dryer sheets. Lower heat, avoid over-drying, add wool balls, and let towels be absorbent instead of slick. Store warm laundry outside bedrooms until cool and ensure the dryer vents outdoors. Wipes need to be boring. For babies, pick water-based, fragrance-free wipes without MI or CMIT. Rinse a scented wipe under the tap in a pinch until you can swap. For household, microfiber, and a small bottle of soap and water beat fragranced wipes in small rooms. Keep hydrogen peroxide or alcohol for high-risk messes and honor contact time and air. Longwear makeup and floss are quick wins. Scan for PTFE and perfluoro/fluoro terms in bases, powders, mascaras, and liners. Many lines now publish PFAS-free policies with test data. Swap to tubing mascaras that slide off with warm water, non-fluorinated film formers set with silica and blot papers. For floss, choose silk, nylon, or UHMWP tapes. Add a dab of toothpaste to the floss for glide on tight contact. By week 2, your fingers will forget PTFE. Make the method your superpower. Ventilation multiplies every good choice. Turn on the range hood before you cook or clean. Run bathroom fans during and 20 minutes after showers or disinfecting. Crack a window for 5 minutes to purge air. Use pumps instead of aerosols near faces. Spray onto cloth, not into air. Let surfaces stay wet the full label time when you disinfect. Never mix acid cleaners with bleach. Store products cool and capped. Heat ruins formulas and stresses preservation. Do it in a cadence that survives real life. Week 1, laundry. Fragrance-free detergent, no softeners or dryer sheets, lower heat, extra rinse for pillowcases. Week 2, lotion. 2 fragrance-free pumps preserved without formaldehyde donors or long-chain parabens, 1 light, 1 rich. Week 3, sunscreen. Mineral for faces and kids, no sprays inside. Week 4, shampoo. Fragrance-free, CMIT-free, and either dioxane-controlled or non-ethoxylated. Week 5, deodorant and antiperspirant routine, night plugs, unscented daytime. Week 6, floss and longwear, PFAS-free swaps. Week 7, hand soap and dish liquid, fragrance-free, CMIT-free. Week 8, one scented indulgence you love from a brand that discloses allergens and certifies phthalate-free fragrance. Use it briefly, then stop. Keep a tiny log when you swap, product, date, symptom. Patterns beat memory. If something burns or itches, stop. If your house smells like something hours after cleaning, reduce, rinse, and move air. Quiet skin and quiet air are the data you trust. Don't toss everything. Use up safe enough while you line up replacements. Save immediate tosses for leave-ons with CMIT, jars that sting, aerosols you breathe near your face, and fragranced laundry that keeps a cough alive at the dryer door. The rest can phase out. Boring wins. You'll feel it the moment rooms stop talking back. Scale the change. Specs, retail, ventilation. What you do at home works. What an institution writes on a single page changes thousands of homes at once. Schools, clinics, offices, gyms, any place with a purchasing department can turn quiet air into a default with a spec sheet, not a speech. Start with 1 page. Keep it plain enough for a buyer, a custodian, and a vendor to agree on without a meeting. Fragrance-free across soaps, laundry for shared linens, and surface cleaners. CMIT-free in all leave-on products and hand soaps. If a product must be preserved, allow benzoate sorbate at low pH or equivalent systems. No aerosols indoors for routine cleaning. Pumps and concentrates only. daily cleaning with soap and water or hydrogen peroxide cleaner. Disinfectants reserved for bodily fluids, raw meat incidents, and posted outbreaks, with contact time timers provided. Rinse food contact surfaces after disinfection. Post never mix acids and bleach on carts. Write ventilation into the work order, not the wish list. Fans on during cleaning and 20 minutes after. Doors cracked when feasible to create a cross breeze. In bathrooms and locker rooms, prioritize repairs on exhausts that fail a tissue test. In kitchens, range hoods on before heat and left running after. Add a cheap code 2 meter as a proxy for fresh air. When it drifts high, schedule a purge. Micro story: a district facilities manager inherits 3 pages of brand names and a nurse log full of headaches. She replaces the list with a 1-page spec: fragrance-free, amide-free leave-ons, peroxide for daily, quats for earned events, no aerosols, ventilation targets. Vendors submit compliant lines within a week. Custodians get timers and laminated cards. 2 months later, the nurse logs flatten. Nobody bought a miracle cleaner. They bought clarity. Retailers turn specs into leverage. House brand standards already ban certain phthalates in fragrance, restrict formaldehyde donors, set ceilings for 14-dioxane in ethoxylated products, and require PFAS-free cosmetics backed by testing. When a big chain publishes criteria and demands supplier attestations plus spot testing, total fluorine screens for cosmetics, targeted dioxane and benzene assays by lot, the base formulas standardize upward. Logistics hate running 2 versions. The clean spec becomes the only spec. Micro story: a national pharmacy chain adds PFAS-free by test to its store brand cosmetics and dioxane under X to shampoos and detergents. One supplier balks, then realizes it's cheaper to ship the same cleaned-up base to every buyer. A rival chain quietly adds the same line a quarter later. Shoppers never read a label change. They feel fewer residues and smell less theater in the aisle. Testing keeps everyone honest without turning buyers into chemists. Pool budgets across districts or co-ops for quarterly spot checks. Use rapid total fluorine as a PFAS screen on long-wear makeup. Confirm positives with targeted methods. Pull random lots of aerosols and scan for benzene. Publish recalls and replace with pumps. Check dioxane in categories prone to ethoxylation: shampoo, dish, laundry, and score suppliers. Share results with vendors and the public. When testing moves upstream, homes stop being the detection system. Workers are your sensors if you give them a pencil. Product name, lot code, room, time, symptom, 5 boxes on a card. Patterns beat anecdotes and make it easy to swap one cleaner for another and see what changes. Give gloves for wet work, microfiber pads that outlast wipes, and a line on the purchase order that says no fragrance, no aerosols. Buildings breathe by design and by habit. Operable windows earn their keep when routines include 5-minute purge after cleaning, meals, and practices. Code 2 at a glance turns stuffy from a complaint into a number with a fix. A gym posts fans on between classes and stops fogging quats. Members stop tasting chemicals and still wipe benches with alcohol and soap. Micro story: a clinic replaces gel plugins with nothing, posts a spec for fragrance-free laundry and amide-free soaps, buys 1 peroxide cleaner and prints a dwell time card for every room. They add a code 2 meter at reception and crack the door when it climbs. Staff headaches drop by week 3. Patients mention it smells like nothing. The administrator calls that the compliment of the year. Policy ratchets markets. A state caps dioxane and suppliers clean feeds nationwide. A city bans intentionally added PFAS in cosmetics. National brands ship the PFAS-free base everywhere. EU allergen disclosure pushes global labels toward daylight. Each rule narrows the gap between precaution and safe as used. You don't need a title to move levers. Ask your school, clinic, gym, HOA, or office manager for a 1-page spec. Offer the template and the vendors will meet it. Your receipts enforce retailer standards. Quiet carts, quiet rooms. The goal isn't purity. It's air that doesn't perform, products that name their parts, and buildings that breathe on purpose. When institutions make boring the default, homes stop paying the price in private. Why you're still falling for it, and how to stop. Scent is training, not proof. Foam is theater, not cleaning. Certainty words: kills 99.9%, odor neutralized, dermatologist tested, quiet doubt fast. Convenience seals it, sprays, pods, wipes deliver instant feedback. Social cues reward smells amazing. Here's the exit: change what counts as proof. Treat silence as data. No sting, no fog, fewer headaches, better sleep. Switch one high-contact product each week, ventilate on purpose, measure, don't guess, and keep a tiny log. 2 weeks later, your air's boring. That's winning. Make your house boring again. Clean is the absence of leftovers, no residue on skin, no perfume in air. Want the ingredient cheat sheet and room-by-room swaps? Watch the next video. Subscribe for more true fixes, not theater. Share this with someone whose laundry still talks.